Okay, so we're gonna do a little bit of a um, layout update sort of video. You can see my dinner train is in the background there, set up, ready to go. There's a few updates on this end of the layout. We'll work our way down to the other end. But for right now, let's hang out here. We've got, let's see here, we got 1, 2, 3 things to talk about here. So I'll kind of move it around so that we're not staring at the same screen. But the first thing has to do with this front spur here. This was what I was calling my Anderson's spur. I was going to have just simply large cuts, large, as in like 6 cars worth of a cut of salt cars be delivered. And then I was looking at my collection of rail cars, and I saw that I had, aggregate cars, regular open hopper cars, these sort of things, and I didn't have anywhere to deliver them on my layout. And I needed to kind of come up with a spot for them. So I figured, why not use this Anderson's spur as like a municipal type spur, where this municipality has the ability to get salt, as well as aggregates and sand, and empty cars as well, and load up the empty cars with wood chips from, tree work, that sort of thing, and then like sand cars and salt, do like a road mixture for the winter months and all of that sort of stuff. So this spur then is going to end up having multiple cars rather than just the covered hoppers. And I think that that's a good way of incorporating all of these different kinds of cars that I have, where I don't have like an excessive amount, but I do have a few. So that's going to be, I think, what I'm doing here. Of course, this is a still set up on the prototype of the Riverside transfer track, or transfer, oh shoot, what's it called? Transload facility up in Vermont, just above Bellows Falls. This spur does actually exist, but it does, I believe, ties in to the regular track at some point. But it is based on a prototype. So that's the news on that spur. And then the next thing is, well, we have our dinner train running. We've only got 3 cars, and in order to be, so it's really more of like just a general sort of excursion train. In order to be a dinner train, I would need an additional car here, a converted luggage car that would operate as the kitchen for that. But you can see I've got a caboose down on the other end, and then I've got 2 locomotives. I wouldn't normally run this with 2 locomotives, but it's what I had up in the yard, consisted together, so that's what I've got right now. So there's going to be an update later once I get a luggage train or a luggage car, and convert it to a kitchen. Probably just simply add like on top an exhaust fan or 2, and that would suffice. The next thing is I finally have my my older Lehigh Valley U-boat. Wow. I bought it at the same time I bought this guy, the Conrail. And the problem with this one was the railings. The railings were all the railings were all beat up on this one. So what I did is I got brass replacements, put them on there, and it looks pretty good. And it's running just as well as 2735 over here. And I have patched out the Lehigh Valley on the sides, and then the LV on the back. I've just simply covered over that with some black. And so these two, I think I'm going to end up having consisted together fairly regularly, well, we'll see them run here in just a minute. The last thing over here that I want to talk about is these open hoppers. I ended up getting a good cut of these. I want to say there was like 12 of them. And I got them on an eBay sort of sale, and there was 12, and I think it was like $80 or something for the 12. There's no road numbers or anything. They all came with the hook style couplers, the old school stuff, because these are all Ather and Blue Box models, but they were already put together. I just had to change out the couplers, and I had functional cars ready to go. I've had them for a while, but I have just started applying road numbers and everything to that, and I've got one or two set up down at the other end, well, not other end of the yard, excuse me, and we'll discuss that in just a little bit, because honestly, these run, even though they're older, they run perfectly fine. The couplers are lined up properly, and they run well, and they look the part. So score one for the home team, and that is my cut of scrap gonds or high side gondolas. I might end up having these guys double as wood chip cars. Who knows? I don't know. We'll find out what goes on. But I did end up getting those intentionally for use with my recycling facility. So I've got a cut of well cars for a recycling train, and I essentially wanted to use these guys for scrap metal, that sort of thing. So let's get our dinner train moving. Light on, and let's get moving. There we go. Match it up to number 2. And away we go. So I am currently on the main line right now. I'm going to stick to the main line the whole way. I think in the future I might end up having this guy come in on the yard and go down to, say, here, and then that'll be where I branch off to talk about any updates going on over here. Let me talk about what I've got going on here, and maybe this is a good time to pause the dinner train. So right here in the foreground, you can see this pine sticking up, and of course I've got a TV, right? The top of the TV sticks up to create a warehouse in the yard here. And of course you can see back here, all the rest of my layout. I'm going to go into that closet space, and we're going to stop right here today. So there's not too much farther, but there is a bit of information to go through. So you can see on the back side here, we've got 3 spots for boxcars, and that's how I am kind of incorporating the TV into everything. Is just allow it to kind of stick up. Let me step back here for a second. Don't mind the reflection of all of the stuff. It's a mess down here, but we are working on getting it all sorted out so that this lower area is also a track, or part of the layout too. That's where my local industries are going to go, all the way on the bottom layer. So that's how it looks, and it kind of, let me see if I can do this. It kind of, like, we've got a couch, you know, and all that sort of stuff, and that's going to be essentially, you know, kind of create like a family room, and because that breaks this horizontal line, it becomes more of a focal point for the room, but that large box is actually incorporated into the layout. Let's zoom back in, and we can continue the train here, the dinner train. I just want to spend a second while this is moving down the track. You can see in the back here, the spur behind the main line. That spur is empty. I just ended up clearing that off, and we're waiting for an additional cut of cars, but I realized I don't really have a bunch of tank cars. I mean, I've got 9, I think, of the longer ones, but then I ended up getting a bunch of kits for like 50-foot long tank cars, and I think I've got, like, I don't know, I think I might have like 10 more. So I got to get to putting those together, but I think I'm going to deal with my cut of high side gondolas first. So in any case, I'm waiting for those those cars that I had to leave and come back filled up. And then the next thing I've got is I added this little spur right here. I talked about adding this on my last operating session. This little spur is quite simply for the shoving platforms. What I was doing for those is I had them sitting back over here with this, with these two cars here. This is the runaround, right? And this is the lead for the yard. So the lead comes in, branches up to track 1, and then branches again into track 2 and 3, and then track 4, I suppose you could call it, that little spur is for the shoving platforms. But this back here, off of track 1, right here, this is a runaround, right? And you can see we don't connect back until almost leaving the yard. We're getting back out onto the main line again. So that track was kind of difficult, you know, if I needed to put in into my cut of cars and arrangement in arranging my locals, if I needed to add, you know, a shelving platform in there, because we're going to use these quite a bit going down to the lower level. If I needed to put one of those in, I'd have to come and back down here, come around, and then come back onto the back side of them, so that I could just simply shove them over onto track 1, and then I'd have to pull back onto here, go back down, or like, so I'd pull back onto here with any of the shelving platforms that I didn't need, and then I'd have to come back and then get back onto the lead, come over here and grab the platform that I had set out, and then kind of get that into my cut of cars. And I felt as though that was not something that a typical railroad would have their crews do day in and day out, when it would make a lot more sense to just sort of have a small spur right off of the yard, where essentially you'd store those cars, and then you'd grab those as you need them. So that's why I added that, and I actually did a little bit of an operating session where I utilized that, and it worked out beautifully. So that's really good. And then what that does, though, is it begins to decrease my construction materials transload facility. Not so much a huge deal here on the back side of the warehouse, but here in this sort of like general yard, unfortunately I've got a yard and a yard, right? And they're two different kinds of yards, but I don't really know what else to call them. In here, I think I'm just gonna have to deliver my flat cars and center beams a little bit more, where I've got more space, and it would make more sense to do that. Naturally, I could deliver them here, but if you look at the size of my loader, now I understand that this is a loader for logs and that sort of thing, but if you can, see that, right? There's not too much of a ability to get in there and then make any turns and that sort of stuff. It begins to be rather restrictive. So I think what it will just do is maybe have some parking spaces for trucks, that sort of thing, and then have it maybe have some smaller sort of stacks of things. I could potentially just take like stacks of plywood maybe and stack those up and have those loaded by a smaller forklift, that sort of thing, and then that's where I could store that kind of thing. Any case, that's my spur for my shelving platforms, my fuel. You know what? Let us slide this cut of cars down this way. So these two were not part of the 12 that I got, but they were blue box units. This one I still need to kind of weather up, put some safety striping on and all that sort of stuff, and then patch both of these out for the correct road numbers. But this guy is one that looked like the blanks over there, and this morning I got it done with all of the road numbers, the capacity, all that sort of stuff, a little bit of a blue paint patch, and then safety striping and everything too. Let's see if I've got some here. And I do. I'll show you what I did. Essentially, I just printed out my own decals, right? And this is from Hayes Paper Company, water slide decal for inkjet. And they sell this in a white sheet as well as a clear. The white seems to work better than the clear. I have tried to use the clear here, and the black and the yellow look really good when you've got a white background, but the yellow becomes really transparent. So these UTLX things for tank cars might not work unless I've got a white car. Everything else, because it's black, you know, black ink, those should work perfectly fine. But then again, if I have a white car, those yellow UTLX should work perfectly fine. Just keep that in mind if you try and make your own decals with that, that anything other than black really matters what you put it on. And that's about it. That's about all I have to say about that. So yeah, let's keep going. I think we're almost done, honestly. So this transload facility in the foreground, this spur, I wanted to touch base on this. You can see I've got a turnout there, but you can see that it's not hooked up yet. I've just simply got that turnout pegged in one direction, restricted in one direction, and I just got a derailment. I wonder why. You know, these Atlas turnouts have worked perfectly fine, but for some reason this one didn't want to go. Interesting. Seems to be working now. So, in any case, we'll have to deal with that. Whitney Blake is back there doing its thing. It hasn't really changed. I've got this this little squiggly line is where I want to put a stream in. So I'm going to have to carve out these little sections here, and that sort of thing. I've got my engine facility track on the back. You can see that that's what the turnout was for that we got hung up on. Oh no! We left behind our shoving platform, or caboose. Pardon me. Just gonna kind of shove this over here. So the one thing that I'll say about these coach cars, I'm just gonna grab this to help me out here. You can see, let's see, hopefully you can see that these couplers are not really lined up. And that's a little bit of an issue. The other ones, and that's just on this one car. These two cars are perfectly fine. But anyway, we kind of wanted to stop here anyway, because we started going off onto the track for our engine facility. As you can see here, right? This is our main line. We started going off there, and that's for our engine facility. And then there's a storage track that's going to come along here, continue farther into here, and then this is the end of our where the main line stops, branches off into the yard. So this is where I'm at. Everything's functional. Like I can run locomotives all the way down to here, and everything's working. You know, I've got my track soldered on the curvatures and all of that sort of stuff. My next step, get this turnout working properly, and then I also want to begin working on getting my my smaller industry or smaller yard in here. This is going to be a rail car facility where you know, we service rail cars and all of that sort of stuff. And then back here, just to kind of show you the structure. So that rail car service facility is going to have a crossover here. It's going to be two tracks heading that way that continue this way and around the curve, and then head straight over there. So plenty of storage space. And then there's going to be like a crossover in here. So storage down there, crossover here, so that we've got a little bit of a runaround. And then this one that branches off to there. And then back there in that corner, you know, we're gonna go this way, right? Helix down, and then onto the lower level, right? Which is full of shit. Full of stuff. So that's about it. That's where we're at right now, and maybe in another couple of months we'll have another one of these where we then see a little bit of progress. You can see obviously I'm still as a pink desert, but I touched on this I think on my last video. I've got little bits of glue, so everything's kind of locked into place, or tacked into place. I'll give you an example. So you can see this glue right here, right? So it keeps it, you know, connected to the ground, but it's not all over the place. And that has allowed me to make any adjustments, like adding in this spur and all of that sort of stuff. So until I have a chance to run my trains on the whole thing, get a few operating sessions in, figure out what's working, what's not, it's going to remain as a pink desert, you know, for better or worse. We will we'll continue on in our next one. So thanks for tuning in, and hope you like this. If it gives you any ideas what to do with your layout, you know, make sure you let me know in the comments, and we will see you next time. Let me drop in here for a cover photo. Ooh, that's a good one right there. Yeah. All right, we'll see you next time. Like, subscribe, do all those things, and we'll see you again.